It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Guess who's back in the house? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. And in case you haven't been already, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, and the Twitter. Although at this point, I don't know how much longer we gonna be on Twitter. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are watching us live and in living color, you're welcome to see these shiny, beautiful faces. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, hit that bell notification so that way you'll never miss when we're going live, which is pretty predictable because it's every Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in case you didn't know all that, you can also find us on your favorite podcast stations. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So make sure you type in Dishin Days. Take us along on that long car ride or that road trip to a far off distance meditation place, or while you're walking the treadmill, scoping out the hotties at your local gym. We will be there to serve up that full dish of your favorite soap opera. And also, buy our merch. Someone today bought a Meliswin beach towel just in time for summer. So if you guys are wondering what are the other cool things that you can purchase in our merch, you can check that out right here. You can get a Meliswin possessed Dishin Days logo or serving a full dish. So that way, as you strut your stuff amongst the land and amongst the people, you can tell them that you are a big fan of your favorite podcast that talks about your favorite soap opera, that little podcast called Dishin Days. Head on over to www.dishindays.threadless.com. That's dishindays.threadless.com and get your merch. Get your merch today. Also, make sure you show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James of the Big Lots Jr. That's right. He is serving you all of the rest of your soap opera fix, including Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, and a little bit of General Hospital. And also make sure you check out his original audio dramas. You can check all of that out over on his YouTube channel. That's JLJ Media on the YouTubes. And Michael Mattis is being Michael Mattis. So he will be back with us next week.
Yes.
Shout out to Michael Mattis and his lumberjackness. I think he's doing photography today for an event. So but don't ask him for the photo, because if it don't come with a check, he ain't giving it to you. All right, y'all. So and just as a reminder, also, you guys, throughout the show, please make sure you tell us your thoughts, because we want to hear from you. So if you're watching us live, you can talk to us via chat, or you can comment below. I promise we'll start looking at those at some point.
I read them.
I read them too. I read them, but the problem is sometimes I don't hit the like button and I don't reply, and I need to be better about that. So
well, you're hitting all the buttons.
You got a lot going on. Yeah, you got a lot going on over there.
Listen, when remember our Dishin Days Awards?
Oh man,
we need a separate camera on you, Tony, for just the behind the scenes.
Just the behind the scenes.
I'm so glad we didn't record our rehearsal for that.
Because that rehearsal was like all right. So shout out to everyone in our chat room. We see you, we're reading, we're watching. What did we think of this week's episodes of Days?
I loved it.
I loved it too. I loved my favorite part with Lady Whistleblower.
I feel like the last couple of weeks, Days has hit a little bit of a stride. I've been like, oh, good. Because sometimes we'll have a week or 2 good weeks, and then we'll hit an info week or a slower week. But these past 2 weeks have been good in terms of pacing and everything and acting, but also just, I don't know. I've really, really enjoyed what we've been seeing.
Well, you know what it is, and I hate to do the compare and contrast thing, but when you look at like soaps across the board, it's like I watch them all, and there's some of them where I'm like, this like they some things that resolve really quick, like within like 2-3 weeks, and I'm like, that was just a little too fast. And then there are some storylines like I'm still waiting for like a character on General Hospital to get their comeuppance, and it's been like 2 years, and I'm like, I'm not that patient. Whereas I'm like, whereas like everything with Megan, who's like the super villain right now, is just really keeping my attention.
Now I will say I'm interested because some things seem so wacky that I'm just like, I wonder where we're gonna go, but wacky in a good way. Wacky that it's like it's keeping my attention, but I'm also just very much like, There's some kudos though. There's definitely some kudos because I feel like the writers of Days, like sometimes I go,
Yep. I did that this
did not even see that. Did not even know that was going to be an option. So like sometimes I'm like, you guys, you're doing good. So I thought this week was very interesting. So a lot of things are moving along, which is good. So, but let's get into it since we're a little behind. That's my bad, y'all, because I miscalculated the time. And let me tell you, the 101 was busting wide open. Go Speed Racer, go. All right, so let's do our favorite part. It is now time to start Dishin Days. That was pretty close. That was pretty close.
That was not close at all.
Well, it was kind of close. You started a little early, but you only got the duh out, and then we followed with Dishin Days. So that's great. We're doing great. We're doing great. We're doing great. Speaking of doing great, let's kick things off with our first storyline, which is A Tale of Two Theos. Now, this is that moment where I went, by bringing back the little Theo, Terrell Ransom Jr., I was like, look at you all grown up and stuff.
Yeah.
I almost gasped when it happened last week because I completely unspoiled, and then I was like, "Who is she?" Part of me was like, "Is she like luring the real Theo over?" Because that was the plotline where he was getting text messages and we didn't know where he was going, and I was like, "Is she bringing the real one over to like and gonna tie him up or something?" I don't know what was going on, and then she opened that door, and I immediately like knew who he was and was like, "Wait." I almost gasped. It was one of those moments of like, I see you writers, like, the job well done pulling this off.
Yeah. Agreed.
He was, I mean, if you were watching when he was on back in the day, he was front burner storyline with Abe and Lexi when Theo was diagnosed as autistic, and he was just so good. It was him and the original Sierra, which is Lauren Bowles, and it was and the two of them together were just like tiny tot magic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, especially that little Lauren Bowles, because honey, she was a sassy one.
She was sassy. He was like the quiet, cute kid, and them together were magic. It was amazing.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about and you guys, I if you guys watched a couple of weeks ago, you know I put polls up on our Instagram. I think I'm gonna do the same again if the mood strikes. But I'm curious to know how you guys feel about the progression of the Nurse Whitley Abe kidnapping storyline, because a lot of people are not feeling it.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know what it is that the pacing wise, it's not terrible. But the problem is that we're still not getting a why. And Eli brought this up. last week. He said, like, she has no motive. What's the motive? What's the why? And the fact that we as an audience still don't really have a clear answer is proving a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's that. And I also, for me, it's funny because it's sort of the opposite. Because I'm really, I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite storylines, and I'm like thoroughly engaged with it. And I had to think, I'm like, why am I liking the storyline so much versus like other people aren't liking it? And I think because we don't know much about Whitley, even though they're dropping like little clues here and there that we can talk about in a minute. But so I think we're arriving to something soon. But it's also that I think we're so conditioned for it to be like some big bad. And I think this is a storyline where it isn't the big bad, that this could be a revenge thing. We'll talk about in a minute for someone else. This could be a, mentally ill person who has a crush on Abe. This could be an obsessive thing. And it reminded me of, do you guys remember, God, what's her name? Mary, the woman who kidnapped Will when he was a baby. And she was like Sammy's neighbor. She kidnapped Will when he was a baby and then took him off, stole him and took him to Europe. And that led to Sammy and Austin going to Europe and having to get married. Anyway, the point is, she wasn't a big bad. She wasn't like hired by the DeMira. She was literally just a crazy woman who was mentally ill and like kidnapped Will. And it was like, we don't always need the big bad, or we don't always need it to go back to like a core family or like, a 30-year history or something. So part of me is invested in it because, well, we don't know the why, but also we think, I'm guessing, that she's not connected. This isn't like a DeMira plot. This isn't some nefarious thing. So that's what's holding my attention, that it may not be that, and that's fine.
It just seems like she is more of like one of those people who is helpful, but does it in a very roundabout way, because there have been like, she has finagled paperwork in order for people to get like the care that they needed. With Jerry's grandmother, needed the medication, so she figured that out. And I wonder if this kind of Kugel for Cocoa Puffs side of her kicked in with Abe simply because Colin was at the hospital, and so she that switch turns on and she's like, well, I gotta save him. And so she did that, and so now she's just kind of like, in her mind, feeling like she's protecting him, but it's really just like, no, girl, you kidnapped the mayor.
And we also know
you haven't kidnapped him.
She's invested enough in it where she knows his history too, and like remembers it, like the stuff about EJ and the election. Like she remembered all that. She remembered Brandon. She like, it's not just like she, it's not like she picked up an article and just read it. It seems like she's lived through this, and who knows, maybe she's always been obsessed with him, or this week we got we don't know if it's a clue yet, but I think it was Eli who mentioned that her husband passed away. So like, who knows, maybe like, did the husband have something to do with Abe in the past, or like, does Abe remind her of her dead husband? I mean, you know what I mean? There's like something there, maybe. We'll see, but yeah.
Can you imagine if they suddenly show like she's like, oh my Jimmy, and it cuts to like a photo of some random actor that kind of looks like Tim Reynolds.
Or James, like with a bald head or something, like
just something. From Mama Moore, who is watching. Hello, Mom. She says, I am not feeling it. I will be glad when Abe gets back with Paulina. Dragging that too long. I see where she's coming from, as far as like, each week is just like a little bit more, and it's getting harder for her to lie on top of the lie on top of the lie. But I tell you what, she's doing a good job, because when she was like, oh, that's your other son, Brandon, I was like, he does have another son. But also, listen, key to living in Salem 101. When you remember something, don't say nothing.
Right, I know. Oh, God.
When he was like, you're not my son, I wanted to say,
right, I know. Abe, you might have to.
Done this twice already, Abe.
Yeah. Abe, you're not out of that apartment yet. Don't, yeah.
And you keep wanting to go outside and all that kind of stuff, and they don't want to let you. Just kind of go, maybe you guys are right. And then the second that she's like, okay, you stay here, you go, all right.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for that scene.
Yeah. I like he's putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together, but I just want him to like just stay quiet about it.
Yeah.
But also at this point, you ain't willed yourself around this house to be like.
I know, it's like where's the photographs? Where's the
to look at stuff?
Everything is burned down in a fire.
I know, yeah. That's true. She did use that. And I'm assuming she brought him some clothes and like stuck them in the house because he was wearing some clothes. So she's at least she's keeping up that facade, I'm assuming. So maybe
it's just something's gotta give.
Yeah.
Something has to give because it just I think the frustration is that we as the audience again we're still getting the same breadcrumbs as everybody else is, and we just went a little bit more.
Yeah. But I'm here for the ride. I'm really liking the storyline. Like I think when they brought Terrell in as the fake Theo, that just like upped the ante. I felt like it's like she's here to play. Like she's
And I tell you what, Miss Jack Gay Harry, I'm gonna do snaps. I'm gonna do Tony snaps because she earned her. Okay, fine.
We don't want people to get confused.
Yes, she earned her dramatic acting chops this week. Her kudos this week. Miss Jack Gay Harry. She was wonderful this week. I could feel the anxiety in her.
When they came to tell her that they had found Abe's blood and that an eyewitness saw that he might have drowned, and the way that she was like, now Black people. I feel like Black people will understand this better than anyone, but that's exactly how we act when bad news comes in. We're like, nope, It's like it turns into Monique and Precious. So the way, those scenes were like were so good because and then she didn't automatically get sad. She got angry, which is like, I was like, you better work this this moment, Jack A. Harry, and pin this for your Emmy reel for next year. Because this was it.
It was the shutting the door in their face to be like, nope, if I can't hear it, it's not real. I'm not.
Yeah, she went through like almost all the stages of grief in 1 minute, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. How do we feel about? Well, okay, my heart dropped when she was sitting in the interrogation room and she was like, "That's it. Abe has to die." I was like, "No."
I didn't think she was gonna kill him. But again, this goes to the whole thing of like we need a little bit more. We need to know just a little bit more about how far this woman is willing to go.
Yeah, it was a little confusing of like, wait, how crazy is she? But then realizing that she's talking about sort of the idea of Abe is, as a plan, he has to die kind of a thing, but not I want to actually kill him or bring him harm, which is interesting.
Now, if I was Jerry, I would have said, listen, I only have about 2 levels of improv in me and a couple of credits and a student film. Now, I'm not about to sit here and plant this evidence. No, I came over here to do the improv. I'm in character. I'm pretending to be the son. But now this has gone too far.
I love that also too. Like, it's so clever. That's why I'm loving this. He's sort of playing it as if he's not a great actor too. Do you know what I mean? Like his interactions with Abe, And it's funny because the whole thing's kind of meta, of course, because he is the original Theo. And so there's an awkwardness there with him and James now that he's an adult on screen with him. So like that part's meta. And then, but especially when he was being questioned by like Rafe and Eli, you could see him lying. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's not a great actor where he's like really playing it off and like, you know, being the star of the show. Even with like some of the improv stuff when he was sitting there with Abe and like you could tell he didn't know anything. So he couldn't say like that was Brandon or remember when we did this or did that. Like he didn't have any of that context. So he literally just sat there kind of awkwardly. And so yeah, I like that they're sort of showing that he's not this amazing dramatic actor who can come in and like really sell the scene. He's still a bit. He's sort of not green at it. Yeah,
it's green. But I don't know if y'all thought this, but when Abe made the face of like he remembers something as he was looking at Theo, I thought for sure they were going to cut to a scene when Terrell was young. And he goes, "Oh, Theo.
Yeah,
yes, I do remember." Michael Maddox would have hated it. I would have died. I would have died to see that. To like see him being like, "Don't worry, Dad."
Yeah. I also think it's kind of funny that like it's interesting. I think they've like purposely left out Lexi in a lot of this, which I think is interesting. Like we haven't, and even that scene that Abe keeps watching for Body and Soul, where he's announced the mayor or wins the election. They're specifically using that scene that Lexi wasn't in because I remember those scenes and she was all over the pub and being there cheering him on and stuff. And so I was like, like they're specifically not mentioning her. I don't know why, if they're trying to keep it like on Paulina kind of a thing, or it just seems interesting that they have Terrell back to sort of not either show those scenes like you're saying, Tony, or to sort of even bring in Lexi. Yeah. It's sort of like they're ignoring that part of it.
Well, you know, they don't want to give him too much.
Yeah.
You know, he still has amnesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm kind of with the audience at this point. I'm gonna need it to speed up just a little bit. Come on.
Just a little bit, yeah. But you know, thankfully we now have the return of Eli to come in and help out with the case. So he's looking things over. Jada's looking things over.
We're not there yet, Tony.
Wait, was it this week that? Yes, it was. We'll get more into it, but I love that Eli is such a great detective that when he walked in, he gave the He was like, I see you and Miss Hunter. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But it's an interesting storyline, y'all. Like I know that it's kind of dragging, and we still have like 1,000,000,001 questions. Like, who is this woman? Why is she doing this? Like, you know, all the things. But yeah, I know at some point, all will be revealed.
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce the next one. You guys talk among yourselves as I go get a pitcher of water because I drank all my water. I'm thirsty.
Oh yeah, guys, it is hot out there. Drink your water.
It is. Stay hydrated, y'all. But we're gonna move on to our next storyline, which is good old Megan Dearest. Because let me tell y'all this before I exit. Well, actually, hold that thought. Read some comments. Hold on.
Okay. Megan Dearest, we are talking about Megan, Rolf, Lee, Harris, Kate, EJ, Kristen, who I still cannot believe that people bought that they went out of town. I mean, this is going the way of me when nobody could figure out that Johnny was possessed. I'm like, remember how I kept saying, does no one know him? Does nobody know? Like I forget. Well, I know it's a meme. Does nobody know me? Oh, it's a friend's meme. Does anybody know me?
Who?
We're talking about the. Oh, good.
Yeah, how like EJ, everybody just believed so easily that EJ and Kristen would just suddenly leave town. And I'm like, this is gonna go the way of when Johnny was possessed. I'm like, it was like nobody knew him.
I feel like Nicole and Stefan are picking up that like something isn't right, but they just can't quite put their finger on it, only because there is still some communication with them, so it's not like a total loss.
But Stefan actually wants to believe the worst in EJ. Nicole should know better.
Yeah. I think Nicole's the only wild card. Honestly, everyone else, I was like, oh, like, would he really tell you he was leaving town, or would Kristen? Like, this is so. I kind of think this is them to a T. Maybe not EJ as much with Nicole, but is EJ really checking with Stefan about going out of town, and would Kristen really like call everyone and tell them she was leaving town? Like, I feel like
the woman wouldn't leave her phone.
Well, that's suspicious. Yeah.
But... Yeah, like seriously, no one under the age of 60 these days leaves their phone behind anywhere.
This is true.
It doesn't happen.
It's like Capital One. You never leave home without it.
Never. And especially if you have kids. If you have kids, you turn down jobs. For if you have to work for someone who says, oh, you can't have your phone on in the office, I'm like, and people are like, that's not gonna work,
right? But how do we feel about this overall scheme that Megan has hooked up, as far as, just so that we're all on the same page, she has enlisted Lee to be a part of this, find Dr. Rolfe. They are to kidnap Michaels, brainwash him into killing Stefan. And they're killing Stefan so that the share of the Demira pot is bigger. And Lee thinks that with Stefan out of the picture, he will get Gabby back. Now, with all that, how do we feel about this particular plan?
Lee is back to being delusional.
Oh God, yeah.
Megan is still Megan. It's not the worst plan. I'll give her that. It's not the worst plan, but the problem is there's too many variables.
She got too many hustles going on. You know how you always know that one person that not only does hair in their house, but they also sell fish plates. Like, that's what it's given. Like, Megan is like, not only am I going to kill Stefan for more money, but I'm also going to marry off my son for a lot of money as well. It's like, how much money is too much money?
Yeah.
Like, can you just like come in and just be like, I'm a Demira now, and like that be it?
No. And
now, kudos to Miranda Wilson, though.
Yeah.
But Miranda Wilson is great. She is giving classic villainous, like soap opera.
She's giving 80s soap villain. Yeah,
she's giving very much that, which I think it's a great dynamic against like Kristen. You know. So I like it. I like the you make sure you have Michael's. Oh, yes, Dimitri, yes. Oh, hello.
Yeah, for me, this, of course, the plot does not make sense at all. doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, the pieces don't match. But I actually like it. I like how everyone's behaving in it, even if I don't like the plot. Like, I don't like the fact that Lee is, took basically like 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. So I'm like, oh, I wish this wasn't. I like them working together. I wish this wasn't the reason. I wish he was going after it not for Gabby but for power. That would make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that Megan wants to kill off Stefan just because he's the weakest link. You would think she would want to kill off EJ and then she could take more control. I don't know. But I'm with you, Tony. I love Miranda, what she's doing with Megan. It's giving us such a different sort of villainry than Kristen or EJ. She very much is like 80s soap villain. And when I have to say, when when Harris came into the party at the end and she did that like ridiculous shock of like,
Yep.
Harris?
Oh, Michaels,
Yeah,
what are
right,
you
I
doing
know.
here? Like,
I lost it.
I feel like if I was at the party, I would have been like,
I laughed so hard at that. I was like, this is what she's giving us. Like, it's a little cartoony, it's a little animated, but it's funny and she's good at it. So I'm here for the ride, even though the plot itself doesn't make sense.
Now, but here's my one little like sticking point that I'm growing very annoyed with, and I need this is my make or break on this. The Harris of it all, this is the same storyline with him. This is the same thing that happened when he first came onto the Mothership show. This is the same thing that we did with Beyond Salem. And I'm like, okay, this is a guy who's worked in soaps for over 3 decades, almost 4 decades. If you're not going to use him, let him go. Because this lather, rinse, repeat of literally the exact same thing. Him in the chair being brainwashed, him in the chair being unbrainwashed, him in the chair being brainwashed again. We gotta let it go. This has got to be it.
See, it's funny you say that. I actually think we're getting a twist here. Part of me thinks he's not brainwashed.
That's the only way I'll accept this.
Yeah, I was with you, Araceli, when she sort of captured him. I was like, oh god, here we go again. Like he's gonna be brainwashed for like the second time. We've kind of already seen this, and he just went through getting deprogrammed. That was sort of the whole thing of bringing Cope and all that back. But so part of me was thinking, oh, there must be something different here. Maybe the conditioning that the ISA did is gonna went through fully, and Ralph can't do it anymore. So part of me is thinking we're gonna get something different here. That maybe he's not brainwashed and he's either playing or pretending.
I thought the same thing. As I saw him like being zapped, I thought to myself, that thing is being like, don't get brainwashed, bro. Don't get they're zapping you. Just remember, your target is still like he was almost kind of programming himself.
Yeah.
But I love that. Can you imagine calling? Yeah, hi. I need 2 things from you, Doc. I need 1, someone to be brainwashed, and 2, a serum to make people forget. Okay, great. Okay, see you soon. Insurance will cover it. All right, bye.
You can't buy that stuff on Amazon.
Well, if you got a Rolf, you definitely can.
And showed up in Princess Gina's submarine, which I was like,
now that's a callback.
Yeah.
Well, one has to travel stealthily in order to elude people.
PR bad timing, but still, the joke landed. But no.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Listen, they didn't know that was going to happen.
Yes, remember, folks, this was written maybe at least 8 to 9 months ago and filmed 6-7 months ago. So yeah.
That just sent chills up my spine. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
don't be guys. This is my PSA. Please don't be one of those people watching Titanic right now. It's my favorite movie, but seriously, don't do it right now.
Oh, people are, and they're also streaming My Heart Will Go On. So
again, one of my favorite songs, but just please don't be that person. I can point you to like several other Celine Dion songs that are just as fabulous.
No, we're sticking with that one. So I love. I don't know if I necessarily love, but like the moments that EJ and Kristen are having, like the fact that Kristen was like, I can't believe all these lushes in the house and no one has come down to like.
If Anna had not been out of town, this would have gotten resolved a long time ago.
Yeah. I'm glad they threw that in to cover themselves, because it was like, okay, yeah, doesn't Anna come down here at least once every couple of days at least?
Mm-hmm.
But I love that it's Lady Whistleblower who opens the door and is like, what? But this is after. I actually got nervous because I thought that he was going to be down there at the same time that Megan was, as she was trying to injecting them with the serum so that they don't remember. But he wasn't. He was already.
Yeah.
He came in the house very stealthy,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that he was like, the mirrors need to really beef up their
I know.
security.
I
They
know.
really do.
I like this Leo. This is the Leo that I think we all
Yes.
like, root for. This, yeah.
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 And then also, there's a lot of people using other people's phones. You got Lee using Harris's phone
Oh
with
yeah. The
and
Kate.
texting Kate. But when Kate ran into Megan and the Horrid Town Square, she was like, "Mission accomplished, my ass."
Yeah.
I was like that should tip you off right there. That something ain't
Yeah.
right, Kate.
Yep.
And
I'm just so happy that Kate finally gets to curse. Like, I know that we talked a lot about how people were gonna start cursing on the show, and it was gonna, and was it gonna be a huge thing? I was like, but no, Kate is the one person I'm like, no, this woman needs to curse up a storm.
well, because at this point, Kate is OVERIT. Over it.
Yeah.
She is tired. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Kate looked at Roman and said, "I'm tired of living in Salem. It works my nerves. I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta go.
Yeah.
We have got to go." I'm not saying that's actually going to happen, but I'm saying
Yeah.
living in Salem has got to be exhausting. It's got to be very tiring.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it everything is happening at this engagement party that no one is able to come to.
I know.
And the people that do,
There's three couples there that none of them should actually be there or
and they hate.
would want to be there. Yeah.
Everybody hates each other. Everybody hates the bride and groom. Maybe the exception is Johnny and Wendy, but that's neither here nor there.
Even Chad and Stephanie, they gave that like silly excuse where he was like, Megan asked me, and I was like, oh, and then literally told Kate like, I still hate her for what she did to you, and I was like, well, why are you going to the party then? You don't even know, you barely know her. Like, it'd be
and
different.
You hate the bride. You hate the bride and groom.
Kate, yeah, then it's like, okay, my sister asked me, I'm trying to get to know her, whatever. I'm gonna go to this party, but you literally are not on good terms with her or Dimitri, and yeah. You don't like Gabby. You definitely don't like Stefan. So why
yeah. If you hate the bride and groom, if you hate the host, why are you going?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we'll see.
I'll tell you what, this is one engagement party that I would have said, ooh, oh my gosh, such a long day. I'm just gonna sit this one out, man.
Yeah, like there has to be like nothing in my fridge in order for me to go to a party for someone I don't like.
Everyone is saying Chad going to the engagement party was weird.
No. I would have preferred if Johnny may have asked, like, if they ran into Stephanie and Chad and said they were going, and be like, oh, can you come with us to keep us company or something, like that would have made more sense to me than, because I think Johnny and Wendy being there makes sense. Like they both are very fond of Gabby and they have a friendship with her, so that makes sense. But yeah.
All right. Well, that's it with that storyline of Megan Dearest. Let's move on to our next storyline, which is 3 men, 2 women, and a ring.
Or as I like to paraphrase it, this week, Lady Whistleblower to the rescue.
Okay, so we got some movement on the couples here of Xander and Chloe and Dimitri and Gwen. And Lady Whistleblower to watch it all go down. First off, let's start with Dimitri and Gwen.
Interesting one.
It's so nutty.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, it's so nutty, but Gwen is into it. And I don't know if it's just like because she's like, he's hot, he got money, the magical penis was great.
The amount of times that was said this week.
And so I'm here for it. It's just like I mean, is it almost crazy that it might work?
Look,
Well,
if Leo is the voice of reason here, you know something's messed up.
yeah.
Well, that's because he's like, Gwenny, come on. Like, he's obviously playing you. He needs something. And it ain't your magicalness.
Yeah, this one, I think the Gwen is the like weird factor here because I feel like I kind of wish even though she's getting wrapped up into it, I kind of wish they showed a little bit more of her being like some hesitation, or at least like in the back of her mind being like, something's not right here, but I'm gonna go with it anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like she's a little bit too savvy to just like be all in. Do you know what I mean? And they're playing it as like, of course, she's heartbroken over Xander and wants to get over him and move on. But I don't know. I feel like she would be a little bit more hip to this. And it's just, I don't know. I'm liking it. But again, you know me. I think Dimitri's gay. So that's, if I didn't think he wasn't gay, I'd be in favor of this because I would think that even if he's scamming her, I think there's potential for them to actually have something, but because I actually think he's gay, and that's the storyline that I'm not crazy about that part of it.
He could be gay. He could be fluid. He could be an alien from outer space. I don't care. The poor Gwen is just so dang. It's not just that she's hurt. She's tired. She is tired. She invested so much in Xander. She invested so much in, creating a life for herself in Salem. And the girl is tired, and she's tired of working for it. And she's like, she's wants her prince to walk to the door. And by the way, I blame Cinderella for this. Cinderella ruined it for all of us. It was the Disney movie that all little girls saw at least once, and it ruined it for all of us, making us think that we would have to work our fingers to the bone, and then one day the prince would magically come through the door and save us. You know what I took that from that movie? After you finish cleaning, there's still more cleaning to do.
Why can't you just let us live in our fantasy that someday our prince will come?
Because it's as the Queen Elsa from Frozen, which is a much more realistic movie, said, you can't marry a man you just met.
Why?
Go see Frozen. Because he'll turn out to be, spoiler alert, he'll turn out to be a super villain.
Well,
that's literally the plot of every story. That's what it was in Frozen. That's what it is here. And Leo clearly saw that movie.
Call me Elsa. No, call me Anna. Call me Cinderella. Because I'm over here sweeping, saying, someday my prince will come.
You be your own prince. You be your own princess, people. I saw a piece of jewelry I wanted the other day. Guess what? I buy it for myself.
That's wonderful. And you can hold yourself at night too, and you can hold your own hand, and you can buy yourself flowers. Write your name in the sand.
I do.
Talk to yourself for hours.
I do.
Say things you don't understand.
I do. And what I don't have is
yourself dancing.
Yes, and I don't have someone nagging next to me like, "Where's my dinner?"
Well, listen, I'm like Robin. I'm not trying to be out here dancing on my own. Okay.
Summer vibes, people. Summer vibes.
I'm out here trying to. I'm looking for mine. Where is he? You can be an independent woman and be independently owned. However,
Summer vibes, people.
Listen,
not independently owned.
I make my own cocktails too, by the way.
I'm just saying. I mean, and listen, everyone in the chat agrees with you, Araceli, and they rooting for you. However, comma. Call me Ariel because I'm trying to be part of that world.
Yeah. And by the way, sometimes Again, I'm a jewelry girl. I'm dazzled too. Okay, that ring was something. But if you look a little closer, sometimes the ring is not of good quality.
That you bought yourself. So
Oh
what does
no,
that
no.
say about you, Araceli? What does that say
Oh
about
no!
you
Oh no!
knowing your
Please!
worth?
Oh no! Please! I was raised right. I always checked for the markings. Jewelers put their markings on jewelry. Real jewelers put their markings on jewelry. Please!
But
I wasn't raised a fool.
here's that takes me back to when I used to buy my mom costume, not knowing that I was buying my mom costume jewelry. But I would see these rings in the store. They were like diamonds for like $10, and I would buy. It was like Happy Mother's Day, Mom, and I was so proud that I found this nice ring for $10, not knowing it was turning her finger green. Sorry, Mom. But here's the thing that I thought this week, and I believe I've probably said this before. The character of Gwen Rizchek, who came into Salem as deviant and evil with a plan that went almost to a T, is not the same Gwen Rizchek we have today. And I think for me, that's kind of like you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like I wish they would, like, I feel like she could have been another Kate. You know, like someone who's just strong and independent, and when she puts her mind to something, she does it and it can happen. But I just feel like they left that quality out at some point.
She's just tired right now. She's
Well,
a little broken. She's a little bruised.
Sure. Sure. But get yourself together, girl. As the drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race said.
Mm-hmm.
But like what you're saying, can you imagine if next week we got a scene of her by herself and it was like revealed, like she knows about the von Leuschner fortune and she's like, oh, I can't wait till I get my hands on that. You know what I mean? Like something to give us a little like,
oh, I would love that.
She has an agenda here. Or she has some like, she has an agenda here herself that it's the going along with it too. It's a little too, it's not really her. It's a little too much.
Not me.
We need some doubt from her a bit.
Not me picturing her as Vanessa in The Little Mermaid, just being like in the room, like la da dee la da da la da da.
We try to swindle him out of this money. He has no.
Yes, is she having that whole conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for now she has Leo, which I mean, just all the flowers for Leo this week.
Yeah. He's being
things are scary when Leo is the voice of reason.
Well, he's just being a really good friend, like being like, snap out of it, you know, like there's something. You know, in gay terms, that means something ain't right, girl. If you have a gay friend and they ever go and you tell them your situation and something doesn't sit right in their spirit, if they're a good gay or a real gay, glitter gay, rainbow gay, they would do this. They'd be like, girl, and that's when you know it's not right. I have a feeling that Dylan is going to make that into a GIF.
And it'll be done in 5 minutes. You'll have it.
There are times where I'm like, okay, let me give him like a good one, right? So let me. So that way, you know, like my whole hand is in there. It's not like cropped out. Okay, there you go, Dylan. I'm sure I'm going to get like 5 drafts of it.
I never know what he gets of me. He just smacks it all together at the end of the year.
He does. Listen, if Gwenny is, my whole thing is this, girl, if you like it, I love it. If you cannot like fall for him and just be in the moment and just do what you got to do to get that money, like, then I'm here for it.
Yeah.
As long as he don't try to murder you.
Yeah.
Moving on to moving on from Gwen and Dimitri, let's go over to Xander and Chloe.
Xander has no business in any of this situation.
Hello, Peacock sex scene.
Let me tell you this. There will never be a sex scene. I'm sorry, I'm making a lot of
Love
scenes
it.
that will ever top Xander and Sarah.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were all like,
Mm-hmm.
now this one was just kind of like okay, like, you know,
Preamble.
Whoa.
we're going there, but this
Mm-hmm.
will never
Well, what made it was the foreplay with, especially shout out
Mm-hmm.
to Nadia and your trainer too, because we've never seen Nadia like that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But Nadia is gorgeous, and Paul.
I
Oh
don't
no,
think
we
we've
know
ever
that.
seen her in a sex scene in lingerie like that,
Oh
especially
yeah,
Yeah.
for, yeah. She
and I
was
felt like it
almost in
was
the thong. I mean, yeah. She looked great. Amazing. Yeah.
real
You didn't see
because
that? Yeah.
when the dress came off, I felt like it was very class. It was still very classy, like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
how they did it. And you know,
Yeah. No
that's how we
complaints
all got
here.
here.
Yeah.
So
No, it was great.
it was good. Now, how do we feel about my? I'm okay with the connection. I'm okay with like them just kind of be.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when you break up with someone that you've been with for a long time, and then there's that relationship where it's just kind of like
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
rebuilding
Yeah.
relationship.
Hmm.
The only thing that I feel bad about is that Chloe is tired of being the girl that people connect
Yeah.
with when they still are interested and
Yeah.
involved with other people. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, listen, boo, I've already been done and had her sis. Like,
Hmm.
I done been through this with Brady and Kristen. Like, who you got feelings for? You still got feelings for Gwen? Okay, great. Oh, you still got feelings for, oh, okay. Well, girl, well then, I'm not going to be that girl.
No, but she's going into it with her eyes wide open, because at the same time that Xander's still thinking about Sarah, she's still thinking about Brady. So I feel like it's different where she's going into it with her eyes wide open. Where she's not going to get extreme, like she'll be a little bit hurt, but it's not going to kill her the
Yeah.
way that this long run saga with Brady and Kristen just about did.
Yeah.
Oh, Debbie Bright put it best. They are fun and lighthearted. It's a
Yeah.
nice change from the whole Brady
Yes.
saga.
I was
And
just gonna say,
I agree with that.
what's so different, and part of the reason why I'm on board, like I can sort of take or leave it. If they decided to not do anything and just be friends, I would love that. Or if they decide to continue this down the road it's going, I'm here for it. I feel like this is the most honest either one of them has been, or maybe
Mhm.
so more Xander than Chloe. But just seeing, like we said, like they constantly bring up the stuff he's done. They constantly bring up their feelings for other people. So it's like there's nothing that's hidden here. Everything's out on the table with them, and they're
Mhm.
building something. So in a way, that makes me root for them more in a weird way. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if the even if this is very short lived,
yeah,
part of it I think is good for both of them, because it's not just a good way to build themselves back up, but it's a good way to let go of the hate. Like
Yeah.
Chloe has let go of the hate that she had for Xander.
yeah,
She's let go of the resentment that she has toward Brady for the most part. Her attitude is good vibes only. I'm trying to just stick with good things in my life right now.
I also, the only thing that really bothered me was Xander's hair. It was something about this front piece that was happening.
no,
And I was just like, what's the front piece doing this week? Like, can we just kind of tame that just a little bit?
Mhm.
That's it. But everything else about Paul Telfer, I'm here for. I mean, he was like, did you want to take my shirt off? I would have been like, yes.
I don't care how long as it's off. Who cares? Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a rhetorical question.
Just had to pause. Just had to pause for the cause, honey. Just had to pause for the cause. All right. So before we get into our tidbits, just some quick reminders. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, or wherever podcasts can be found. Make sure you buy our merch at dishindays.threadless.com and head on over to JLJ Media on YouTube to listen for your soap opera fix from our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Lott Jr. And speaking of James Lott Jr.,
Uh,
Paul
yes,
is hot.
yes. Contribution.
Someone, Sandra said, yes, Tony, I noticed the hair. See, I'm not the only one
Oh.
that notices stuff. All right, so let's move on to our next storyline, which is Kate knows best.
Duh.
What I was very surprised about, because as you guys know, Ilia Cantu
Hmm.
and Akitra Civilian,
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you got it.
we're both on the show, and we asked, what can we expect coming up? And Ilia Cantu cleverly said, a release.
Yeah, she did.
And a release we got this week.
Yes.
But the comments that people had regarding this, I was actually kind of surprised. I'm going to say this.
Oh, people aren't liking it?
No, they were just like,
Oh, really?
how could they do that? Like, like that. Rafe is Jada's boss, and
Oh, gosh.
actually, I'm sorry, because as I
There
say to
were
James,
these.
as I say to James Lott Jr., everything is better verbatim. So let me go to Twitter.
Oh, God. Oh, Twitter. There we go.
and highlight
Oh
No
lordy.
explanation needed anymore.
highlight some of the responses.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Who knows
Um,
soap Twitter is its own little hellscape?
I can't.
let's see here. Hold on.
Oh, man. Too funny.
Sorry, I'm clicking through.
Oh lordy.
Oh, well, I mean, a lot of people said they congrats. They can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Glad to see Jada release, even if it's with Rafe.
Yeah.
A lot of people were definitely looking forward to it. But there were some comments where people were just like this one. Where is it? Sorry, I'm scrolling.
Nope. I will say while you look at it, I think there is a legitimate point to be made about people maybe thinking that their relationship could get boring whenever you put sort of two nice characters together without giving them some conflict. So I think there's I don't want to say a valid point there, but there's a point there, and I hope that they don't do that with them too, or that they give them stuff to do. They don't just make them a pair and not ship them off screen, but like keep them in the background. Like,
yes,
you can make their relationship interesting between two good people. Like, you can still do that. You just have to write it. Yeah.
And counterpoint, it's like Rafe has been in so many relationships in his 10 plus years on the canvas that he's been through the drama.
Yeah.
He has been through the drama.
Who?
And Rafe.
Uh-huh.
He's already been through like all of the most dramatic. He's been with pretty much most of the dramatic women on the canvas.
But here's the thing that I will say. Number one, I feel like this is probably, besides Sammy, which that's still is the first time in a long time that I feel like Rafe has actually had chemistry with someone. Like, I know people were rooting for Rafe and Hope, but even that was still kind of, the way that they have presented this. It's like a long time
They've been
coming
at this for a while.
Like, they have fought the attraction that they have for each other for a very, 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 very long time. And Kate's right.
Mm-hmm.
What you do in your house is your business.
Yep.
This is true.
And it's no business of a company or any as long as you're not doing it on the clock,
Mm.
it is your business.
Mm-hmm.
And when Rafe opened up that door and saw a gently glistening from a shower Jada with hair up, towel wrapped around for the longest of time, you know at some point Marvin Gaye was gonna come in and go, I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And they got it on. And I'm here for it. But what I was hoping, because it kind of got brought up while they were at work, was when Jada was like, do you think the call came in when we were together? I was like, don't worry about that. Y'all,
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry
Right.
about that.
Exactly.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
You could have been at the pub eating a burger and the call had
Exactly,
came
yep.
in. Don't worry about that. I just leave that alone.
Yep.
Leave that alone. Y'all had a good time, and it's fine. It's fine.
And to Justin's point, the conflict doesn't always need to be within the relationship. These are two characters that both have sisters that are just hot messes.
Yeah.
Rafe with Gabby and Jada with what's her face? I forget her name. I keep wanting to say Keitra.
Talia
with Talia and Jada with Talia. They have enough going on with their siblings right now. If they find some stability and happiness and cutesiness and steamy time with just the two of them, good for them.
Yeah, and they've done a great job with building up, because Rafe's been on the show forever, but building up Jada's character and showing how competent she is. So you already have them working together, but you see that they work very well together. So you kind of get the feeling that that's not going to be their issue, like it may have been in the past, like the stuff with Hope too. Like there was like some jealousy there at times about either one of them getting promoted. So like that, I feel like that stuff is not on the table with these two here. So it's more of a formality than it is something that really is, foreshadowing or something.
So I am going to post on our Instagram in our stories a poll. And I would like to know everyone's thoughts on Jada and Rafe. Are you happy that Jada and Rafe gave in? Let's see, Jada and Rafe gave in. So I'm going to put that I'm going to put it nicely in here. Are you, let's see, what does it say? Are they happy that Jada? Yes. Finally. Oh no. Not at all. So let's see what the peoples have to say.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying yes, finally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And good to see Kate and Jada like continue that relationship. That was nice to like have their scenes together.
Jack D is in here talking about if they're not fired, the writers aren't seeing the real world. Well, in the real world, yes, there are rules about fraternization. I remember like when I was growing up, my first encounter with that was there were two teachers at my school that started dating. And they could continue to date, but they both couldn't work at the same school.
Yeah,
so one had to go to a different school, and one could stay.
Yeah, and some places have the thing where you not like you have to register, but you have to be upfront about it, and so that HR knows, or like your subordinates or your bosses know. So like some places have different rules. Yeah.
And I know that everyone's saying like Abe said no fraternizing, but let's be honest. And Eli pointed this out. Eli and Lonnie were both working at Salem PD. Yeah, they were each other's equals, but they're still working together. They still, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And they brought this up too, that they're having Abe deliver it, but that is actually coming from the city council. They've like kept bringing that up the last a couple times that it isn't. They're trying to make it so that it's not just an Abe thing, kind of reinforcing this like archaic view, but it's like coming from the top kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Congrats to Rafe and
Yeah. Jada. But let me bring this one point up again that I can't look it up right now, but those with a really long memory, I think I'm getting this right. Wasn't Lexi at one point in the police department?
Mm-hmm. She came on as a cop, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was right about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, there. All right. Well, let's lather, rinse, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
By that, we're talking about Johnny, Wendy, and Trip and Chanel. I just want Johnny to stop making plans with Wendy so that Chanel can have an easy life. Because every time Johnny makes plans with Wendy, something happens in Chanel's life. And
it's not his fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just life.
Just pick Trip already.
Yeah.
Girl.
This is so this is like I've never liked this storyline, but it's getting cringe now. Where we're seeing
it's getting old. It's just getting
old. Going from a 45-minute date where she's kissing someone to then turn around and I'm gonna go out with Johnny. It's like I don't want to say it's making her look bad. I don't want to sound sexist to bring this, but the behavior's weird. It just
I don't think it's on her. I don't think it's on anybody. You know, I feel differently about this triangle, quadrangle than I did about the last 2-3 of them, especially the ones that Trip are involved in. Poor Trip is always that's okay. So that's my reason number one. Trip needs to stop being involved in all of these triangles and quadrangles because he's been in the most, and I'm over it. He's as much as he's over it. Second of all, it's not that in this particular one, it's not that anybody with one person is necessarily being overly obnoxious or mean or anything. It's just like the universe is kind of already telling you who to choose. It's nobody's fault. It doesn't need to be ugly. Just make a choice.
When Trip did that 45-minute date, I was like, girl, what else do you need?
Yeah.
This man kept your attention, kept you laughing, kept you having a good time for 45 minutes.
I love that Trip has been thinking outside of the box, though, for these dates. Yeah. Like, I don't want to say that it makes him better than Johnny. I think it's just different. I think
he's just thoughtful. He's thoughtful. He is committed to her.
And it's not that Johnny's not. It's just that Johnny is already invested in Chanel.
There's a priority. There is a priority. Yep. If you have plans and Chanel comes up with like, this doesn't happen to me. Oh, I'm sorry, girl. Let me walk you to your house. You gonna be okay? Call you later. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's like, I've got to stay here with Chanel. Mm-hmm. And it's like, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, this week kind of did.
Well, yeah. But it's also the priority of like, let me make sure I call the person who I'm involved in and let them know what's going on, not after the fact. Or like also include her. Like not that Wendy wants to come over and help you console Chanel, but like it would go a long way to show like we're not doing anything. I'm really just trying to be a good friend here.
And he did learn. This time he called her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's not no one's being malicious here. No one's being overly obnoxious. It's just that the universe is clearly telling you which people belong with which people.
This announcement coming to you from Dishin Days. This announcement coming to you from Dishin Days. Wendy Chen, pick Trip so we can move on from this storyline. Thank you.
I can't watch another week of she's going to go on a date with John and then he cancels. Chanel has something. Comes in, swoops in, saves the day. shows her amazing time, and then she proceeds to date Joe. So like,
we're done here. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Choose trip. We're done.
I mean, I might go through another round just because I want to see what Trip comes up with next.
No, that's it. The next thing that I want to see is them just together and on a date. Thank you so much. We're over and out. Moving on. We are moving to A Fatherless Baby, the Nicole Walker story. Do y'all think that it was Days' way of telling us that Eric is actually the baby when she was sitting there and she was like, if my baby daddy don't come walking through the door? And I was like, girl.
I know.
Yeah.
I still got hope though. I still got hope we're in for a twist. Hope, fingers crossed.
I don't.
I do like that Sloan brought it up though. Sloan did bring it up that like we don't know who the baby's father is. I stopped them from knowing who it was.
Oh, she told the T to Colin.
Why would you tell that doofus?
That's her brother.
This doesn't make him any less trustworthy.
No, he's probably a safe person to tell that.
Yeah, that's fine. She needs to tell somebody.
I think Eric or come back to buy her.
Nah, not through Colin. Unless he uses it as leverage against her, which I hope not. Because I feel like, they have a great brother and sister relationship. Yeah. They need to be there for each other. Because he didn't give two about hearing about Abe.
And that's my concern. Someone who's that heartless, who's that far down the hole. I don't know.
Again, he's in a different place of he wants someone to pay for the loss of his family. And he said it. He was like, whenever they suffer, I'm fine. And it's because he still feels like his family was taken from him by Chanel and Paulina. Sloan doesn't really have that vengefulness anymore, but he does.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's melted considerably because even before Colin was revealed, she still had that vengeance. Even if she wasn't willing to go to sort of illegal, nefarious ways, she still wanted them to pay. But I think she's quelled a bit on that, where she's not bringing it up as much. Maybe she feels, I don't want to say she feels like they're even, because I don't think she feels that, but maybe she feels like since Colin has brought this sort of mess and upheaved their lives, maybe she feels like there's some sort of justice there, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah. I will say I loved, and this probably goes back before, but I loved Nicole's reaction to Abe's death. And I liked that it was Eric. I thought that was nice. I thought it was a really nice scene. I thought Ari was really great in it.
Yeah, that was
even
important.
If it was, yeah.
Ooh, but then I got worried when she hunched over talking about her baby. I said, Lord have mercy, Jesus. But it's good to know that they have cleared her and said that she should be able to carry the baby to full term.
Yeah.
And there was Eric with a helping hand. Yes. Anytime you need Eric, he will be here.
I'm still holding out hope, though. I really hope it's EJ.
I'm holding out like Bonnie Taylor's holding out for a hero.
Yeah. I
hope it's EJ's.
Yeah, it's too predictable if it's Eric's. There's no drama there.
But that's what these fans want. They want Eric and Nicole, and I'm like, girl.
Yep.
I'm over that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
see. Question.
Answer.
Do we think
yes
that Sloan is actually going to get pregnant?
I don't think she needs to be trying.
No.
Because this is all just out. She wants to do that just out of guilt of what she did. It's like, well, let's make a baby. It's like, you can practice all day long. Let's not actually make one.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be interesting.
No.
See, that would be interesting if Sloan is actually pregnant with Eric's baby and Nicole's baby is EJ's. Now that's interesting. Because he's technically getting what he wants, but he's also getting it from someone who now has deceived him. And that, to me, that is interesting.
I just thought of something, and I'm like, oh, Lord, I hope they don't do that. I won't say it, though, in case they do.
Oh, now you have to say it.
I think we talked about it before. Is that what you think?
I'm going to keep it to myself. Hold on. Let me write it down. Let me write it down. We can talk off camera, but let me write down my prediction.
Tony's trying
of
not
what could happen.
Are you sure we didn't talk about this 2 weeks ago, Tony? It's not that thing that we talked about?
I don't know what thing. What's a hint?
You want me to Sammy?
No.
I'll just say no. Okay, it's not that.
No.
Okay.
So I'm writing down right now.
Sorry, Sammy's the clue, not the thing. Do you know what I mean when I say Sammy?
Yes. Where it splits?
No.
Oh, what are you talking about?
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Write it in the private chat. Write it in the private chat. But as I write down, that will happen, and then okay. That's just what I wrote down. I'll tell you how it happens. I'm asked. I hope they don't do that. Anyway, and then Nicole and Chloe had a great moment that was also full of shade. So
it needed, yeah.
It's like, sweetie, you with EJ. So if you gonna feel like that, then you should be okay with me and Xander.
Yeah.
And we're done. All right. Well, listen, that was your week of days. And now it's time for our favorite part of the show. Our favorite part of the show, and hopefully yours. No, not that.
Not that one.
It's just me. It's just me pressing the wrong buttons. But ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for Tony's official 3 Snaps Award.
Oh snap!
All right.
Oh,
so
snap.
listen.
Oh snap!
So listen, my 3 snaps goes to it's almost like what they said what the grandmama said in The Nutty Professor. They kept wanting and wanting and wanting. Whoo! It's gonna make your head blow off. Jada and Rafe, I am very glad that look at that. She is happy. That is happiness right there. That is happiness. So for holding out for a hero and for holding out for as long as they did and having girl talk and finally just saying, you know what? Ain't nobody about to control this house. It's my house and I live here. My 3 snaps goes to Jada and Rafe for doing what they needed to do as adults. You get Tony's 3 snaps award.
Oh snap! Oh snap!
Just one time. All right. Let's move it right along. We don't have a caption that because ain't nothing to caption because Michael Mattis ain't here. So we're going to move on to...
Those were the days.
Take you back to June 28th, 2010, I believe, when Renee Jones last aired as Lexi. I thought that was appropriate considering what we got this week with, fake Theo, who played the real Theo. But yeah, like I said, it brought back a lot of memories of that time period specifically. We're getting the clips from Body and Soul. We're getting the fake Theo there. And I was sort of thinking what you said, Tony, before about them flashing to a clip of them. That would sort of be interesting, and including Lexi. But yeah, just a very sad day that is, as far as we know, it's permanent. You never know in the future. You never know. But that was the last time we saw the lovely Renee Jones. Fingers crossed we may see her in the future. Who knows? But yeah, June 28th, 2010, Renee Jones last aired as Lexi.
Oh, look at her.
Yeah.
So pretty. Thank you, Justin Lee Hareld. And that was...
Those were the days.
A lot of buttons to press. And now it's time for... It's a Gift!
And this week's gift, It's a Gift goes to who else but Lady Whistleblower herself, calling it like it is.
What did he say?
What the hell is actually happening here? I concur.
Very, very appropriate. And ladies and gentlemen, that was It's a Gift. And now it's time for News and Gossip.
Yes, we are starting off this week with, we got a really sort of in-depth interview with the lovely and newly Dishin Days award winner, Miss Jackie Harry. Sat down with Vlad TV for very in-depth, interesting interview. Go check it out. I think it's a little over an hour long, but they also have it broken up in pieces if you want to check out the different topics she talks about. But she goes in depth about Days, working on Days, and the pacing and how amazing and great of a time she's having. She talks about 227. She talks about being the first Black woman to win a supporting Emmy. She talks about, and even has an interesting sort of run-in with Harvey Weinstein that she talks about. So go check it out on YouTube, Vlad TV, interview with Jackie Harry. It's really, really good. Go check it out.
that clip of how's dating going for you? Whew! Lord have mercy. Lord, I was like, everyone can relate to that.
She's so honest and real in her interviews. Yeah. What you see is what you get with Jackie.
Exactly.
All right. Next up, we have a new podcast from our very own Tao Penglis, who plays Tony DiMera. He's launching a new podcast called The Lost Treasures. It's a detective style story exploration of Greece's greatest contributions to the world. Ugh, my words today. It's a 4-episode podcast released every 2 weeks from September 5th through Tuesday, October 17th. It will be available on all streaming platforms. If you know Tao, he's a world traveler. He's globetrotting, and he's also Greek. I think he grew up in Australia as well. So, he's all over the place, and he's really attached to like telling all these amazing stories. So he's just a born storyteller. So go check that out.
Yeah. Next up, we have our Day Celeb events. Quite a few of the ones we've been telling you about, but also a few new ones. Start off, we have the Eric Martzoff's Rick Springfield one. That one's in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, October 5th through 9th. Next one we talked about.
Not that one. Sorry.
No, that one. I'm just going to go through them, no worries. RickSpringfieldGetaway.com for tickets and information. Next one is the Starstruck Oktoberfest one in Orlando, Florida, October 21st through 22nd. Go to StarstruckFanEvents.com for tickets and info. Next up is the Party in Vegas one. You can check out Stacey Hyduke and Eric Martzoff. Instagram pages for information on that one. And we have the one we were talking about, the Samantha and Friends one.
Actually, the Party in Vegas one has now added Robert Scott Wilson.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So Robert Scott Wilson will also be in attendance on that one. Yeah.
Next up, we have our Samantha and Friends one. This one is Invasion of the Minions, a weekend of September 9th through 10th. All tickets and info, go to samanthafriends.org. Then we have our newest ones we've been telling you about, Christmas at the Biltmore Castle in Asheville, North Carolina, December 9th. That one is through Eventbrite, so go check that one out. It should be an interesting one. It's with I'm forgetting Paul Telfer, Eric Martzoff, and one other person I'm missing, maybe Robert Scott. I'm forgetting.
Christmas at the Biltmore.
Yes,
yes. Eric Martzoff, Paul Telfer, and Robert Scott Wilson.
December 9th, Asheville, North Carolina. Go to Eventbrite for tickets and info. Now we have the two events that Carson Boatman and Raven Bowens are doing. First one is Raleigh, North Carolina, Saturday, October 21st. And then they're doing another one in Charlotte on that Sunday, October 22nd. Through Coastal Entertainment, coastalentertainment.com/events for all tickets and information. There should be a nice meet and greet with them. And we have a new one that just came out or just was announced a couple days ago. This one's called the Bad Boys of Montreal fan event. It's Paul Telfer and Remington Hoffman. It's what's taking place Sunday, September 3rd. It's through Star Image Entertainment. So you can go to starimageentertainment.com for tickets and info, and also Eventbrite. This one should be interesting. So to meet and greet with them. So yeah, lots and lots of meet and greets.
Lots. So you have plenty of opportunities in the next few months to meet and greet your favorites.
Yes.
Yes. And you guys, make sure you go check out these events. You guys are always asking, how can I meet them? This is how.
Mm-hmm.
And no, they're not coming directly to your city, but if they're coming close enough, you can drive.
Yes.
People are like, you need to come down the street from me. Like we need
I have
Chuckles Comedy Club down the street. Can you come there?
Like they'll be like they'll be in Dallas, and someone says, "Can you come to Austin?" Dallas ain't nothing but 2 hours. Like drive, just go 2 hours, honey.
Yeah.
A mess. Anyway, next.
Next up, we have some job news. New career for Kyle Lowder, who plays Mr. Rex Brady. He just landed a spot as the new morning anchor for KTVN in Reno. He'll be moving to Lake Tahoe and starting his new gig in July. So congratulations to him.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? If anyone is in Lake Tahoe and sees it, send us a clip.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because I would like to see that play.
Yeah. Big congrats. You get all that every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun.
And last but not least,
good morning, Tahoe.
Yes, right. And last but not least, we have some show dates for one of our favorite bands, the Day Players. They've extended their sort of spring summer tour into the fall. They have about 3 more dates left. Phoenix, Arizona, August 6th. Huntsville, Alabama, November 4th, and then Nashville, Tennessee, November 5th. That about will wrap up, I think, their tour for this year. But they've been sort of adding dates here and there, so you never know. But we will definitely keep you informed. Tickets and information, you can go to thedayplayersband.com.
I really hope that like Scott Reeves and Emily open up for them.
That would be a good one. Yeah. I feel like they have that has to be in the works, right? Behind the scenes.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's hope so. If they didn't have the idea, you're welcome. You are so welcome. Well, y'all, it's now that time to find out what's coming up this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives.
Hi, Mama. I'm home.
She came back to say goodbye.
I'm sorry, Lonnie.
I want to see that evidence for myself.
Now, she's solving the case.
Why would this guy lie about seeing my dad fall into the water?
This 4th of July.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most unstoppable of them all?
Theo.
Don't miss the fireworks. Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
It's a big week.
Yeah.
Look who's home. Guys, look who's home.
I just want to point out that Lauren Koslow looks great as a redhead.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And
okay,
Tony.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the one thing I was wishing when Terrell first showed up, I was like, oh, I hope they give him scenes with Lauren Koslow because they had such great chemistry together. And, Theo loved his grandma Kate back in the day. So I like that this is the way that they're putting those two together on screen, is having them in the show within the show is really cute.
It's going to be a fun week.
Yeah.
Days social media, if you are listening, please make this a thing on YouTube. Even if it's just a 1-minute sketch clip.
Yeah, right.
Just for us. Or whatever clips that you guys have.
Yeah.
Just post them on the YouTubes and just let us have our own little kiki about it.
Yeah.
But
I do think they need to put all the soaps together, all those body and soul, or our audience. If anybody in our audience wants to do that, get all of the body and soul clips and put them together in an album. We'd very much like that.
Very much so. All right, everybody. Well, that is our show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. But before we head out, Justin Lee Hareld, which little old social media platform can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli, the multi-platform queen herself. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tia323 Araceli.
And y'all, please go stalk Michael Mattis. Not literally stalk. I should choose my words wisely. Go show some love to Michael Mattis. He is at ML Mattis on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter at Lounging with Tony. And you can find each and every one of us on Facebook, Dishin Days Show, or Dishin Days on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another fabulous show. We will be back next week to serve up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Until then, stay hydrated, stay cool, and we'll be back here next Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk all things Days. Tell a friend. Bye, everybody.
Good for it.
Oh, yeah, and happy 4th.